I don't know why, but I wasn't expecting this. Like, I'd considered the possibility of Kagura going into, Yato berserk mode this scene. Like, the chances of Kamui going so far as to push her into that state, they just seemed pretty high. We've got the continuity with the Yoshiwara and Flames, this storyline, so if there's ever going to be a good time to revisit that issue, this would of course be the one. We could have the contrast of her either refusing to allow that to happen again, or perhaps becoming strong enough to control it, and it would all be great. My question was, will Kagura or won't Kagura? For some reason, the possibility of Kamui ending up in the same position did not even cross my mind. It just didn't. And yet, here we are. We end the chapter with the worst possibility imaginable. Kamui. Kamui, Mr. Crazy Yato on a normal day, Kamui, is going to become that. We know what Kagura was in that state, and I cannot even begin to imagine, even fathom what Kamui is about to become. How are we going to get out of this now? Like, Kamui's fate is coming down to the wire here. If nothing else, he's either going to need to get snapped out of it like Kagura was thanks to Shinpachi, or he's probably gonna die. I don't think that there really can be a middle ground here. At least there's nothing that I can see at this point. I also think that whatever the resolution of his character arc may end up being, it'd be best to have it now. There's no point in dragging it out any further as we head into the final conflict with the Tendoshu, especially if he retains his villain role. Secondary antagonists, they're not really necessary at this point. These sort of things need to be wrapped up ahead of time, I think. Regardless, there is really only one person that is possibly capable of dealing with Kamui at this point, and that is Kagura. Maybe Abuto, but I'll discuss the Abuto possibility later. Umibosu's down. Gintoki probably can't take anymore, and I highly doubt that Shinpachi is capable of dealing with Kamui alone. So we really are just left with Abuto and Kagura, and I think that anybody who's worried about Kagura's presence or lack thereof in this fight thus far will have their worries addressed shortly. I think that the Yato siblings are about to finally have the real fight. Now, it's really probably just them that are the only ones capable of acting at this point. The question is, what will Kagura do? I think that we are going to get some major resolution of one of the earliest defining character traits of her here. To what extent will she embrace or reject the fact that she is a Yato? She has, for the most part in the past, previously fiercely rejected this part of herself. It has only ever been to her something to fight against, something that she has tragically given into in the past and never wants to revisit. However, I must say that in the recent chapters, we have gotten quite a bit of development for all of the Yato cast. Umibozu, Kamui, Koka, Abuto, and of course Kagura herself. We are revisiting Kagura's home. We saw the Yato's home planet. What I'm trying to say is, I don't think that the issue of being a Yato is going to be so simple anymore. I don't know if we can view this anymore as Kagura needs to reject her Yato self. She is a Yato, and there's nothing inherently wrong with that. Gintoki has criticized Kamui not his quest for strength, but Kamui's quest for empty strength, a sort of strength that exists only for its own sake while displaying a willingness to destroy everything and protect nothing. I'm not saying that I think Kagura is going to need to go into Yato berserk mode here, embrace her Yato self. It is precisely that is representative of the excesses of Yato's strength. But I think that it is going to be very powerful, if nothing else, to see her go up against the very thing that she once succumbed to, while also showing the courage this time not to hold back, so she doesn't need to be driven to such a state of desperation. She is strong, incredibly so, and she has grown so much since Yoshiwara, and she knows what she needs to protect. Like, can we talk about the moment, just for a second, where she stands in front of Gintoki to protect him in the exact same position that we saw her a few chapters ago while protecting, like, little Kamui? Like, the visual parallels there, I couldn't handle it. And then you see how she stepped in between the fight and between Sogo and Nobume and Farewell Shinsengumi. Like, that is the purpose to which she has come to devote her strength. Stepping into the middle of a fight and just saying no. I can't identify the exact moment she adopted that, but She's not running away anymore, nor is she giving in. She'll face things head-on, trusting in the strength that she has for a purpose that she chose herself. I love her. And she is going to get to showcase that before Kamui. The question is, what is that going to do to him? Is it going to be his salvation, or is it going to be his undoing? Obviously, we want the former to happen, especially because we still get to see the glimpses of the big brother in him, how he hesitates for a moment when Kagura protects Gintoki. He doesn't want to hurt her. As Gintoki points out, that is his limit. He cannot bring himself to do that. That is the limitation that he lets go of when he goes berserk. The one thing that prevented his strength from being completely empty, it's now gone. And so now, I don't think there's any guarantee that Kamui is going to be receptive to Kagura no matter how hard she tries. I'm reasonably sure that she is going to be devoting herself to using her strength to snap her brother out of it, as Shinpachi did for her. I'm almost positive about that. But for that to actually succeed, Kamui needs to listen somehow. And previously, for all the cracks that he has shown, for all his hesitation, he has only ever gone further and further downhill every time someone tries to help him. And there's going to be a point where all of this just breaks him, and it, to an extent, certainly has already. But I mean in a way where he just can't take what he's doing anymore, and he just gives up. And it's just a question whether that possibility, whether that part of him still exists, or whether it's been lost entirely. And then there is, of course, the question from a big picture point of view, is it a good writing decision to redeem both Kamui and Takasugi? As I've said several times, that I think it's quite likely that Takasugi is going to be getting something of redemption, and it is very important in the biggest conflict of the series. That would be Gintoki and Utsuro, of course. And, I want Kamui to be redeemed, but it may, depending upon the potential execution of the course, it might be somewhat excessive to do so. Something of a redemption at the moment of death would be a more feasible thing, something that Gintama has done many times in the past, with Hilosen, with Jiraiya, which leaves us with a very good combination of making the character more sympathetic while not excusing their actions. But, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But the point is, Kagura is going to try and save Kamui, and it may or may not work. Most likely, it's not going to work exactly as she plans, even if she does ultimately succeed in the end. She's probably not going to go full Yato Berserk mode either, at least I hope not. And from there, we have a few wild cards. We have the possibility of Kamui attacking the others. This, I think, is very likely, Gintoki being the most likely target, which would bring Kagura to a choice, Kamui or Gintoki. Obviously very poignant, and it works very well from a writing perspective, I think. I would imagine that she would save Gintoki, initially just trying to break them up. The question is, will that be enough? And at that point, will she have the courage to take it further? I think she will, up to a point. And I think that there we'll be able to look back at Gintoki's. I tried to save them both, but that was the same as throwing them both away to Hichikata a little while back. Kagura looks like she's about to end up in that position where she may need to make that choice. I don't want to see Kagura kill her brother. I really don't. I don't want her to go through with that. It's at times like these where we remember that she really is only a 14-year-old girl. So, I don't know if this is to placate my own worries or if it actually makes any sense. Let's return to the other wild card. Abuto. He's still fine. He's still alive. He's just as capable as Kagura, most likely, when it comes to dealing with Kamui, and has a good deal more experience. But what do we know about Abuto? He sort of lives for the Yato, I guess you could say. He doesn't want the Yato as a species, as a clan, to die. His character was first introduced when he triggered Kagura's berserk mode, and he is effectively Kamui's babysitter, and has a history of protecting both of the Yato kids. He's also gotten a lot of screen time on him this arc, and I don't really know how much Sorachi is going to be how much more he is going to be able to do with his character. Dare I say he is a good candidate to die. Something that I could definitely see happening at this point is Kagura versus Kamui. It happens. It goes on for a little while. Kagura's trying to break through to him as best she can. Kamui goes after Gintoki. Kagura saves Gintoki, and she ends up in a position where she can kill Kamui. but she hesitates. Kamui takes advantage of that moment of hesitation, and something goes wrong. I don't know exactly what. Abuto steps in, saves Kagura or Ginto or Umebozu or Shinpachi or whoever else from Kamui, and takes a lethal blow himself in the process, either taking Kamui with him or snapping Kamui out of it. We get some quip from him about Yato's or being Kamui's babysitter, and he dies. End scene. Yorozuya all live. Abuto dies. Both Kamui and Umebozu's fates are still up in the air. I highly doubt Sadachi will kill all three of them. And there is also the possibility, I'm not going to ignore this, of Umebozu stopping Kamui, maybe. It'd be a very fitting end for him, but I'm just not sure if it's feasible for him at this point, and so I think that Abuto is the more likely possibility of the two. And I imagine that all of this would be another 2 chapters, maybe 3. At that point, I really don't know where the arc would be headed next. We've got the Utsuro stuff, all the Yato family stuff, and at that point, I would imagine that it's just regrouping with the Joey and the Kiheichai, and getting off the planet on another chapter or 2, maybe a bit longer depending on how the escaping process goes, and then I think the arc would conclude. And the final arc, there's the hype. I'm really, really looking forward to all that stuff, but I think this arc is almost finished. I don't think that there's much more that we can do with it. And it's both exciting and sad to think that the final arc is almost here, that Gintama will be ending in under a year, most likely, depending on how long the final conflict with Utsuro, with the Tendo Shu, actually is. Stuff that I am very excited for, and that will be a lot of speculation for that in the upcoming Utsuro video. But I think that's all I have to say about Chapter 586. It was a really good one, especially those last few moments really triggered a lot of speculation. So many different ways the story could head, and a lot of different good ways the story could head, I think. And they would all be very, very powerful, I think. So, yep, that's all I have for you guys today. Please like, comment, and or subscribe. If you are so inclined, I would really appreciate it. And that's all. I'll see you soon.